is good, He led me to where I'm at. Sometimes I feel like giving up, you're giving in, but everything happens for a reason. It won't always be blue skies ahead. Sometimes you might need a helping hand, just like I am. Sharpens iron, making me stronger, calling me higher. When we come together, just like I am. Sharpens iron, making us stronger, calling us higher. When we're helping each other, we're growing together. It's so unnecessary worrying about life. I might not have it all, but I know I'll be alright. He's gonna challenge me to be the best I can be, and to give back to those who need it. It won't always be blue skies ahead. Sometimes you might need a helping hand, just like I am. Sharpens iron, making me stronger, calling me higher. When we come together, just like I am. Sharpens iron, making us stronger, calling us higher. When we're helping each other, we're growing together. Sharpening iron, making me stronger, calling us higher. Sharpening iron, calling me higher. Just like I am. Sharpens iron, making me stronger, calling me higher. When we come together, just like I am. Sharpens iron, making us stronger, calling us higher. When we're helping each other, we're coming together. It takes so little just to make me smile, but you don't seem to be around. My body aches for someone who makes me right, but you don't seem to take the time. You're on a mission now, I know you can't get out, and our time is running I know you can't get out, but our time is running out. Ooh, bye bye love, you don't know. Ooh, bye bye love, 'cause you don't know what my dreams are like and where I wanna go with you. Ooh, bye bye love, 'cause you don't know and you don't seem to care that I could have gone with you anywhere. What my dreams are like and where I wanna go with you. Ooh, bye bye love, 'cause you don't know and you don't seem to care that I could have gone with you anywhere. Walk with me. Let's leave the past behind. Walk with me. There's something else we need to find. Say you'll go, don't make me wait. There's no need to hesitate. Let's make footprints instead. Let's make miracles come hold my hand. Let's find something new, me and you. Blue is the sky, like the color of your eyes. Blue is your heart. It's been like that from the start. Say you'll stay till the morning light. I'll help you through the fight. Let's make footprints in the sand. Let's make miracles come hold my hand. Let's find something new, me and you. Walk with me. Let's leave the past behind. Walk with me. Down the road, there's sunshine and light. Say you'll go, don't make me wait. There's no need to hesitate. have thought it, but you couldn't change it. Hey, it's not right or wrong. It's about trying, find the silver lining. Rain and fire, highs and lows, you name it. Cold and warmth, laughs and cries, you have it. The world goes by, and by the time it does, you missed it. You didn't see